Wednesday Boyton, and thank you for joining us for Wednesday's Wisdom. I have with me today Dr. Juliett Stovall, and our topic is one that I am really excited to discuss because basically it affects everyone. And I think that having the opportunity to have someone with so much experience and knowledge on the subject is a benefit to Wednesday's Wisdom. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
And
me.
would you please just tell us about yourself?
Well, I don't know if there's a whole lot to tell. Let's just say that I am one of 10 children, number seven. I have five brothers, four sisters. And I come from a family of educators and entrepreneurs. Um, I'm a proud graduate of Spelman College,
All right.
as well as Clark Atlanta University. I have a master's in educational leadership, a master's in social work, and a PhD in social work.
All right, I'm trying to keep up.
Um,
I think you have a lot to share.
um, I'm recently retired and I'm trying to learn to enjoy retirement. However, I've told some people that I'm so busy in retirement, I might need to go back to work
So you
to
can
get some
slow
rest.
down.
But I did 33 years with Atlanta Public Schools, 3 as a teacher in the classroom, high school, and the other 30 as a school social worker. So I've been on the ground level. I've also been an administrator in terms of being the coordinator of social work services with Atlanta Public Schools, supervising about 40 some odd social workers and helping to, uh, should I say, more or less shape some of the policies um, and rewrite and update some things. I served 8 years as an adjunct professor in the School of Social Work at Clark Atlanta University. So I guess that kind of puts me in a nutshell.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So basically, April is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness
Yes.
Month. But I think that anytime is a good time to have this topic. I believe that right now you're also helping out with that specific
Yes,
area.
I'm a facilitator for a program that comes out of the Child Advocacy Center. It's under Darkness to Light. It's called Stewards of Children, and what that is it's a community approach to child abuse prevention. And so I go out to various groups in the community, whether it's church groups. I've even done agencies such as Department of Family and Children's Services, just in talking about how to get this out in the community and to gain a better understanding. We had even implemented the program in Atlanta Public Schools where we did workshops with our teachers, with the entire faculty and staff about educating folk about how to prevent child abuse, primarily child sexual abuse.
Okay. What is child abuse?
Well, we can look at it from two different perspectives. Physical child abuse is the non accidental injury of a child under the age of 18 by an adult.
Okay.
Okay? The sexual abuse of a child is the use or the using a child for sexual gratification by an adult. And then we can get into exploitation, which you're talking about using children for monetary purposes
Wow. Okay.
in a
Now,
sexual way.
can children also sexually abuse another child? How does that work?
Yes, it happens, but we don't usually necessarily label that as abuse per
Okay.
se, because a lot of times children are experimenting. That's one. Two, sometimes they are perpetrating acts on another child that have been
Fear not.
perpetrated
Yeah.
upon them.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's even acting out what they may have seen on television, in media. So it's important to understand where that comes from. And that only you can only do that by actually talking to the children.
So you're touching on my next question. How do you approach that discussion? Talking to kids, because
Hmm.
a lot of what we do in America, I think today, is awareness. We want information. And I love the fact that we've had this Me Too campaign and a lot of the campaigns that are national to embrace or embark upon a discussion. But beyond being aware that something exists, I think we have to get to the point where we're delivering resources and information to help. And it seems like a lot of people are against it. It can be political, and then some people I think are just uncomfortable with it as a parent. And having you come on my show to talk to me, I said I have kids too, so I looked at home. Before I can talk to a subject, I need to be aware myself, and then also make sure that what you tell me today, I apply it. So talk to us about that conversation.
We, as I said, in the program, Stewards of Children, we talk about the 5 steps really in protecting children.
Okay.
The first step is to know some of the facts.
Okay.
And one particular fact is that 1 in 10 children are sexually abused by the time they're 18.
Wow. Okay.
We used to say, I think it was 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 7 boys, because oftentimes we think about girls more than boys, but boys are also abused as well in a sexual way. Then we talk about minimizing the opportunity, and that's minimizing those one-on-one kinds of situations. In the schools, we talk about teachers not necessarily being behind closed doors with a child, because we don't like to think about it, but if you look at the news, educators all the time are involved in inappropriate relationships with children. And so we talk about lessening those one-on-one opportunities. We talk about, being careful about texting children, because you can get into inappropriate things. As I said, just look at the news, and you talk about the inappropriate texts that have been sent, whether it's pictures or even the language. Right. And sometimes it gets started either by the adult or sometimes by the child, but the onus is on the adult to say, no, this is inappropriate, even if approached. So there are 2 sides, and sometimes maybe even 3. Then we talk about being able to talk about it, talking to our children about their bodies, about sex, about boundaries, labeling our body parts appropriately.
That's good.
Because, well, in my work with children and reports, we've had children, who come to school and say, so-and-so may have touched my pee-pee, or they put an apple somewhere, okay? But to be able to say a penis, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the body part. But we tend to shy away from those kinds of things. So actually, that's okay.
Actually encouraged. If you want to help to protect your child, to teach them this is what this is called.
Yes. To teach them the appropriate body parts, such that if they say to you, my daddy touched my cookie, or so-and-so touched my cookie, you may not put that in a sexual way. You may think, okay, you had a cookie and they touched it. You didn't want anybody to touch your food. So it's important to have the language and to give our kids the language, the appropriate vocabulary to be able to express themselves.